Hi, my name is Joshua and welcome to this video. Today I would like to talk about some new features that were introduced in the latest updates to Payload, specifically to version 3.64 and 3.65. There are some new features concerning type safety. We have new additional features for the MCP plugin. So all in all, some interesting new features. Let's jump right into the augmented types. So previously, whenever you extended a collection, because, for example, you have a plugin and you need to add specific fields and specific configuration for that plugin, you did not really have type safety for this because the custom object was simply any. Now, Payload allows us to extend the definition. So we can do this declare module payload and then interface collection custom. And in here, it's going to use that interface collection custom, and we get full type safety in whatever custom data we configure. The next interesting feature has to do with the MCP plugin, because Payload now provides us in our hooks the source of the request. So we get this Payload API argument, and this can be MCP. I mean, as you see, it could also be from GraphQL, from local API, from the REST API, but like this, we can ensure that certain things are done whenever there's a request by the MCP. For example, if we create a post, we don't really want to risk publishing directly an AI-generated post. So this forces whatever comes from the MCP server or from Claude or whatever other AI, this forces the status to be draft in this case. But you can modify the data that comes from AI here in whatever way you want. We're just sure it does it. So as an example, I added Claude code, added this MCP server to my Claude desktop. In this case, it is configured to work with posts, with pages, and with orders that we have in the sample project. And I'm simply going to ask him or it to please create a post. And now it's going to select the MCP or the right function from the MCP plugin. Yes, I will create a new blog post. And I can click allow on that one. And it's going to be created in posts. So there was nothing here before. There's now this post, and whatever the MCP plugin gives, here its status from the MCP plugin, it's always going to be draft. Another interesting addition to the MCP plugin is that if we have our own MCP callable functions that are defined, for example, this getLatestOrder tool, this does nothing else but just get an order. The interesting thing is now that previously the request object that we got from this handler was simply a normal request object, but now we actually get a full payload request object, and this allows us to do requirement.payload. So actually we don't need to initialize the payload object anymore. We can just use it from the request object like we're used to in any other hook. So I hope this was interesting to you. Please leave us feedback. We're currently experimenting with new kinds of videos where we may be putting together some features or tools about Payload that we just find interesting and think not enough people know about. Other than that, we're firmly committed to releasing more videos in the future, so subscribe and stay tuned. Also, soon we're going to release a video about MCP servers with Payload. So, see you soon.